In early 2023, when discussions first began about a show that would eventually become the Community Pulse, there were two particular artists that were at the center of our thinking for a deep dive: Frank's Uncle Seb and the most unique Viv Sparrow. Beyond the amazingly beautiful work Viv had shared on her main YouTube channel, we were continually blown away as we came across things from her other channels, as well as unreleased tracks she shared with us. One track especially stood out as groundbreaking: Little Green Men. Having a runtime of almost 13 minutes, it wasn't able to be fit into the Pulse episode with Viv that Hetriani hosted back in September. We are so excited that Viv has graciously agreed to do this little Pulse extra so that more of the community can hear this brilliantly creative track. This is the deep dive we think her work deserves. We have 3 old live recordings for you tonight. The first, from Viv, is a rendition of the standard "You Belong to Me." This may not seem to be strange, albeit old, but it's a gentle way to ease into tonight's songs. The second track, "Swimming in My Dreams," is a folk punk recording of an in-studio radio broadcast performance to get the surrealism of this evening going. Our final track will be the astounding "Little Green Men" from Viv. This track will even further refute the intricate design of what we know as real. So sit back and journey through some deep cuts with us.
Just remember, darling, all the while you belong to me. See the marketplace in old Algiers. Send me photographs and souvenirs. Just remember, when a dream appears, you belong to me. I'd be so alone without you. Maybe you'd be lonesome too. Just remember, till you're home again, you belong to me. I'd be so alone without you. Just remember, you belong to me. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to this special edition of the Community Pulse Extra. We have a special show for you this evening. As you read in the description, I am looking so forward to this. JJ approached me with this idea. As you saw in the description, about a year ago, maybe a little over a year ago, JJ and I came up. So this is kind of the roots of the Community Pulse. We came up with an idea called Deep Dive, and a couple other people had started something similar, so we kind of stayed away from it. But back, our first two projects were going to be my Uncle Sebastian and Viv Sparrow. And we were really excited to get right into an artist's
Can you hear me
channel.
now?
JJ's, let's shut him up there. He unmuted himself. Yeah, I lost my train of thought. But yeah, we were going to start this getting into the artist profile and everything. And we spent, JJ took me through a journey of all of Viv's channels. And we must have spent about 3 or 4 hours just going through all of her songs. It was just such a beautiful experience. And tonight we get to experience 3 of these tracks, 2 from Viv and 1 from JJ. And well loved in this community, amazing personalities and amazing talents. I'm going to shut up now and I'm going to bring up these 2 artists at the same time. JJ, I hope you're ready. Let's all welcome Viv Sparrow and Folk Punk. Let's bring on Viv to the screen. We're going to do this, and JJ.
Sorry about hitting the wrong button a minute ago. I can't really see too well. And it has nothing to do with age.
If in case you didn't know, that's JJ.
My eyes aren't where the slits are.
Right, Snooks?
Mine either.
That's fantastic. Well, this is a great idea. I really got excited when I got to put together this video, and I can't wait to share it with everybody out here. And welcome, Viv. Welcome, JJ. If you think I sit in a corner during the Community Pulse, tonight I'm going to be even quieter. I'm going to let these 2 take the show, and yeah, it's all yours. Well, let me just welcome everybody. Thank you all for coming out. I've seen so many in here. Hetriani, Independent Men United, DJ Big Red Snooks. We have I saw Neil Hans Dynasty. Who am I missing here? There was
Wait, you missed a spot, JJ.
The Nut House, what's going on?
Here's Mike.
Wesley.
Here.
Wesley Media Hub.
Wait, what happened?
Not much. I forgot to test what wearing glasses with the vinyl mask would do, which is basically fog my glasses up instantly.
Oh.
That is actually like one of the characters I imagine as your like inner songwriter. It's like that professor like whacked out from a different universe type.
Yes.
Ouch.
Yes. Professor Whacked Out.
Professor whacked out. Yes.
It does have
Perfect.
that Einstein type look to it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
A mad Einstein.
But yeah, I do realize that it's actually quite redundant. I mean, other than the eyebrows, it's redundant.
Well, I was kind of getting used to that character though. Oh man, I hope he'll come back.
He may reappear whenever
Okay.
I don't have to put glasses on to see or talk, maybe.
Okay. Okay. Good.
Well,
Good.
so
I can't get comfortable here. What's happening?
What is going on here? Everybody,
Well-
JJ with the mask, Viv climbing chairs.
Because I changed my chair and I'm not happy about it because I used to sit on the piano bench and it was quite a bit higher. And now this is a disaster. So,
Do you know, I once saw an interview with the guy that was the lead guitarist for the Red Hot Chili Peppers, Frusciante or John.
yeah.
And in the whole interview, he was like crawling around his apartment like that, like climbing on top of chairs, and then he climbed on top of the piano, and then.
Yeah, no, I understand where he was. Hold on a second. What? Give me a second.
We promised you some strange old
If this-
things.
If this doesn't make the bloopers, yeah, Viv,
All right.
you're arranging her apartment.
So much
During the
better.
show.
I have the entire problem back here.
There we go.
All right.
At least you didn't like flip backwards on the chair or something.
Yeah.
do a Chevy Chase.
Yeah.
Or a folk punk.
Yeah.
I just spin in a circle. That was awesome, that tune. And that was part of your Melodic Mind project, right?
Yes. That was an assisted living a few years back. Yes.
I bet you they loved it.
Yeah, and JJ and I were talking about how it kind of has this kind of like people sitting on a beach with like 3D glasses type of vibe to it. It's like there's something pretty but like kind of weird about it.
Yeah, you said it perfect. You said, "Oh, this sounds like it could be in the movie Blue Velvet," and right
Yes.
away I was like, "That would be like an opening soundtrack of that movie." As the didn't they find the ear right away in the beginning or something?
Yes.
But
Very,
totally. So it's very sweet, but it still is a bit strange, which is a good way to, get us into the evening where it will get stranger. I promise.
Yes, it's gonna get stranger, and I think like we were trying to attempt to explain like all of the strange like interactions even you and I have had, like where it got to the point where the synchronicities were too bizarre to be unexplained.
And too recurrent, just like
Yes.
not a one-off, just like, Frank sends a question and like we answer at the same time with almost the same exact words in different messages.
Right. So I
Yeah.
think part of like the songs that we've chosen are like to kind of illuminate those synchronicities that happen, and just to kind of
Totally. And it plays with all of that kind of metaphysical kind of thing. Like, when we're talking about a synchronicity, it's not something tangible, you hope, but it's real. It happens.
Yeah.
So that has a lot to do with kind of all the tracks tonight. Consciousness kind of flows through all of them. And it's funny. I mean, I guess if you talk about something long enough, but we even were like, oh yeah, when you play in assisted living care and you're able to reach patients with neurological disorders like dementia, and all of a sudden their reality is different hearing that song than
Right.
it was before that song was playing.
Well, and we were even the other night talking about reality in general and saying, they're in a different space, right? Their brains are such that they're not in this place with us, but who's to say that place is worse, right? And that's sort of like one of the fun things that I always think about when I had a resident that I was singing to at one point, and I had worked on a poem or something, and I had said to him, I don't know if you guys are going to get this, it's pretty abstract and sort of like out of nowhere, but I handed this guy who had pretty severe dementia, I handed him a piece of paper and I said, oh, his name was Gunther. I said, Gunther, look at this. What does it say? And he grabbed the piece of paper and he's going like this, and he was German, and he goes, oh, this? No, this does not talk. And he gave it back to me. And like, I just thought it was brilliant that he was interpreting what I said as like, what does this piece of paper say? And
you almost don't know to laugh because that's a fantastic joke.
Right,
You
it's
know,
a fantastic.
if somebody says, what does this say? You're like, oh, it doesn't talk.
Maybe it was a joke.
Steven, well, that's why I'm like, maybe this guy was really a comedian.
Right.
But then maybe not. And, maybe it was Robert Frost and just writing about a wall. And, it's a wall.
Right.
But that music can bridge different perceptions and levels of consciousness. And when you were on the first time, we were talking about your ability to connect the emotional consciousness in your performing, and these do it as well. To me, these elicit something beyond emotion. These go into philosophy,
Right.
physics.
And we had talked a lot about, when we were just prepping for the show, like the idea of time and how it's a little bit more possibly loose and malleable than we like to think it is, or than we think of it as in this reality. Because a lot of the time, I'll hear a song that J.J.
Hey, Jay.
That's the name of that crazy professor that just here a few minutes ago.
There you go. There you go.
But like I'll hear a song on your page, on your channel, and I'll be like, wait a minute, like I swear I wrote this melody, or I thought of this melody before. And like, so we were talking about this idea of like collective consciousness in terms of like music and writing and time and the past and the future. And
I mean, so you know how reincarnation is basically a soul going into another soul or spirit at another point later in time,
yeah,
not inhibiting the same time space. But what if we said, what if somebody, an artist like Emily Dickinson,
yeah,
and her spirit, when it was exposed from her body, instead was like a melody that became
yeah.
songs of many souls rather
Like
than just
split.
transfer to one. So maybe we shared a bit, So we're not related like we think of people, descendants, but we actually have a similar spiritual descendant.
Absolutely. And yes, 100%. But like, there's also this idea of like how our songs from our past, and I'm sure a lot of people can relate to this. Have you guys ever experienced that what you written in the past, like almost prophesies your future? Like, like some of the things I'm thinking about now, I was telling JJ, don't lose your thought because I just want to finish mine, but I want to hear what you're thinking. Because
I was going to say, yes, exactly.
Yeah. Because like I was saying to JJ, like a lot of my journey with coming back to music, and like finding my voice again, and because I felt I had lost it for so long, is like finding these old pieces, and like it's almost like I'm talking to myself from the past or from a different place, where it's just like, oh, I know that person, or so that kind of stuff.
Totally.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's a great segue into finding other pieces of the past with our next track, which we want to save time to really discuss the last tracks. We need to make sure we don't push that one off too far there. But yeah, the next track here is kind of about finding ancient things, kind of ancient ruins almost. And funny, again, we get so lucky when we work together, Viv, because things, even beyond us, like that synchronicity. So this song that you're about to hear, and we were planning on putting it in, all of a sudden I heard a report on NPR that a new Mayan village, or not a new Mayan village, an undiscovered Mayan village had been found in Mexico. And I'm listening to the report, and the person's words in the segment were almost the words of the first stanza.
Yes, straight down to the basketball courts. Like, what the heck?
It was so weird. Just so weird that the synchronicity, the connection on a level beyond our flesh and of our consciousness that is more cosmic than, carnate.
Well, and I think you do that so well. And what I actually wrote down here was like, the way that you write is, I mean, something what's that word? Wish I could attain, or strive. That's the word. Strive to be, which is like your mind is like so curious. Like that's what I feel when I hear your music, because you're talking about like I'm sitting here like I was Googling like the Medellin cartel to try to figure out like how that was like gonna fit into JJ's song, because like your curiosity, it just pulls in like all of this, like these kinds of things that are historical and so far outside of yourself. It's not inside of yourself. I tend to get stuck inside myself when I write. But your brain, like, just, you digest like the world outside, and you just like extract and then like poetically express it. And that's what I think is so cool about this song in particular. It's like a dream. It is a dream.
It's a good thing I have the mask off, because I'm blushing and heating up, and I would totally have passed out right now if that mask was still on from overheating.
But it's true, right, Frank?
Thank you. Thank you.
You said it perfectly.
You know, I've been many places, done many things, and seen even more.
Yes, just like Donny Hathaway.
And here, so we have talking about consciousness. Stepping a little further is, you know, what is the difference between right now and when we're asleep and we dream? Because, you know, when we dream, that is as real as this is right now.
Yes.
And which is the real?
Right.
I don't know. Or does one just tie into a different part of something that makes everything, whether it's real or subconscious or dream? So,
Well, perhaps it's all real. That's the thing, is like we don't really, like, it's gotten to the point where like you start to wonder if like everybody that you're talking to is really just a piece of yourself, just like what JJ was saying the other day. It's just like we're all so collectively, you know.
Yep.
So.
Yep. At least, you know, Kurt Vonnegut in Cat's Cradle talked about this religion, Bokenism, which believed that the world is divided into teams called cuirasses.
Yes, and you're in mine. We're in it.
And the key is you don't know who else is on your team, but throughout life somehow you just intermingle and connect in ways that seem mysterious, but not because you're really on the same cuirass. You just weren't told. You know, you don't.
And maybe that's this community. This whole community in general is probably, you know.
This is that definite gathering. Yep.
Yeah, for sure.
Exactly. So our next track here, we'll have Swimming in My Dreams, as we're talking about getting into dreaming and drifting off, and it ties in some ancient things. And again, it just, as we were working on this, hearing that report about the new Mayan village being discovered, just was like, whoa. And then when Viv found the track we listened to first, and I listened to it, and it said dream and pyramids and jungle, and I'm like, and she's like, I didn't even realize that. The synchronicity just.
Yes. It just fit together like a picture puzzle. Yeah.
Exactly. So to continue forming the puzzle, here's our second track.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Perhaps it's time for a poem.
Sid Barrett.
Inside a South American jungle, villas more eye-filling than the Medellin cartels. A Mayan city still thrives today. over plush green rainforest plains, ball courts and temples are delicately lain, and high atop this monstrous hill is the temple that the people fill. The most magnificent of all, the maker of legends and law, is her huge triangular swimming pool. Surrounded by fluted pillars and a neatly trimmed vined hedge, the shouts and the screams of the bathing virgins echo in my mind, calling me in.
Working up a sweat.
Yeah.
Well, you know.
Hey, well done. What was the name of that one?
That was called Swimming in My Dreams.
It's definitely, it sounded like it. It was definitely very dreamy.
Well,
In honor of Bicycle Day.
Yeah, there you go. And you are listening to WORT 89.9 FM. I'm the Real Jaguar. You're just listening to folk punk out of the Dells. Is that where you're based out of?
well, I'm sort of Baraboo. He's Racine, and this guy, bass player's Milwaukee.
Nice. So Wisconsin.
Yes,
Yeah, that's it.
yes,
All right,
yes,
go.
Wisconsin.
Drink Wisconsin.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Wow. Let's get bring it back on. Wow,
So-
wasn't that amazing?
Who was playing with you on that?
So there was my friend Lance. Lance is basically the guy that did all the Stones Like Clouds recording and playing and writing with me. And Chris Bausch was on bass. So Lance was on an acoustic guitar. Chris was on a bass. And I was on an acoustic guitar and I was singing and reciting. But the radio studio we were in, it's an independent community radio station. Very small, very cool, very hip. But we were crammed in this little tiny studio. And when we turned all the amps on, it was so incredibly like wall shakingly loud
Yeah.
that they had to shut all the mics off but one. And it was the one in front of me. So you don't really hear the other guys as much as what you would have heard if you were in the room with them there. But yeah, those were some of my buddies that I've played with for many years going back.
Yeah, and so like it seems like it was very much like it kind of has like that Little Green Men thing, which we're gonna hear next, but like where you're not really, it's not like that was rehearsed, right? This was sort of just like a jam session, and like it changes just based on what, you know, everybody else is playing kind of thing, and you know, you're just reacting to.
Yeah, and I don't know if Little Green Men was for you, but this was something that even when we did this in 2019, the poem was written in 1985. The song first started maybe 88. So it's been around, and it's a kind of a free jam in, you know, E minor. Every guitar player's dream. If you don't really know what you're doing, E minor is perfect.
Yeah.
To the point that we actually did a show once where I put pieces of tape on a keyboard on all the E's, G's, and B's, and called somebody up who I said, "Who here has never played an instrument?" And some fool raised their hand. We brought him up on stage and said, "Now you can press any of these keys with tape on them."
Yes, that's funny. Oh my gosh. And it's interesting when it's, you know, like that, when it's just a poem, because like you sort of fall into, this happens to me anyway, like you have kind of like an idea of the shape of the melody in your head, but it's very subject to change. So it's not like, it's just very changeable in terms of like what you're singing, how you're saying it, like how you inflect it, how you speak it, how you.
And what the others are doing with you. And people are going to hear that in a minute, where in Little Green Men, that is happening in the way a piece of jazz music happens, where you guys are building off of each other, and you vocalize notes that like the lead guitarist is playing it coming right in. And so that ties in directly to the next track. And yes, I think it's similar also in that, not like we went into this radio station. We did go to this little other place in the University of Wisconsin-Madison. Lance is the chief recording engineer there, so he has access to all these little stages. And we went, and for 30 minutes, we practiced the 6 songs we were playing.
Yeah.
And that was the first time the three of us had played in 9 years. But we knew from before, and it was basically simple. So it was still raw enough that you weren't locked into any particular, you know, I'm going to play this riff now or whatever. It was whatever felt at the moment. And it kind of had an insane feeling, especially somehow after friends that heard it said that I sounded insane when I was reading the first lines.
Yeah, well, we'll see if maybe I can match the insanity.
That would be another tie-in.
But JJ, like what I was saying about you the other day.
Hi, Hat.
Yeah, hey, Hat. Oh, who's that guy there? Oh my gosh. You know, Jay Hay keeps on appearing and disappearing like in your screen. That's really funny.
It's a spirit.
It's like peeking into this dimension.
What's
But
it
like,
sitting on?
On a mic stand.
Oh shit, man, you're freaking me out.
That's the point.
I
Strange
sit
and
on his
old
lap.
things.
but like, JJ, you've sort of like maintained this aesthetic, I think, musical aesthetic of like, you stay in that place of curiosity when you play. I think, I don't know, I think I become too deliberate sometimes when I play, which is why I try to go back to that sort of spontaneity, which is why I love like working with you, because it's like that unbridled, like, just be spontaneous, just like let the colors just come out where they come out kind of thing. But I think sometimes we can lose that as like artists. So I just,
I think you're right. I mean, and maybe that's something that really, really drew me into this track when you first shared it with me, was not to make a comparison in ability from your later stuff compared to that early when you were in high school. But it was almost as if the further training you did after high school robbed you a little bit of that.
yep, we talked about that. Yeah, totally. Totally. And it's been such a, like, I in a way, like, I think I had to like break down completely, which is what happened. I mean, as those of you who I've promised collaborations with and haven't been able to get my together, like, what happened to me is like there has been a breakdown, and I am just building everything back now and trying to do it in a way where I am informed by who I was when before I thought of myself as a singer, if that makes sense. Like, I want to be informed by that, like, unbridled spontaneity. So like that's been the quest.
Do you think you get to a point where your main goal is not first to be thought of as a singer to people that hear you, but first to have fun?
Yes.
Might be the kind of the change point.
Thank you, Professor. Yes.
Doctor. Oh my gosh. So yeah, I think that might be part of the magic of Little Green Men. It just seeing that this opening image that you have in it, knowing you're in high school, it was like I'm there. I know that feeling that you're expressing in that still, where yes.
Where the music is all up inside your chest, man.
Yeah.
Like it's just there.
Yeah, and you're not worried about breathing from your diaphragm and all that. You're just go.
Yep, you're not worried about placement. You're not worried about like, vowel shape. Yep, it's just like.
But what you are doing is of a capability level that shows your innate ability, your innate talent.
Well,
I don't know, maybe you had trained into that, but it just sounds natural.
well, thank you very much. Thank you. I mean, it came from a place, so like I said, it felt like it came from a place of death. Why do I think to say that? It came from a place of death in the sense that it came from a place of the place I was before I was alive. So I'm probably not death, but probably wherever it is we go when we die. That was weird.
No,
Sorry,
it ties
It's
into
very
what
metal,
we were already talking about that. And
Yeah.
actually, the soldier that we're going to hear from in a bit, that death, there's a death, and like in my song, it was a metaphor when I talked about the bathing virgins. It wasn't a sexual thing.
Yes,
It
baby
was
virgins.
the loss. That was a metaphor for innocence and the loss of innocence.
Yes.
And whether we're thinking about growing older and from children to adult, we lose a natural innocence in the sense of wonder kind of innocence.
Yes.
And civilization, I think, has
Yes.
also lost that wonder as it's matured. You compare it to the Mayans to now, and okay, science says all this, but we've lost something there. So there is a kind of a death.
Yes.
And that angst, that teenage, what were you, 14, 15 when you did this?
I was 15. Yeah. But like, We also talked about, and I guess we can, it's hard to, it's sort of out of context if you're just talking about the sports
Right.
song,
We're
but
gonna
we
go on
talked
for an
about-
hour.
but I'll say it succinctly. I'll say it quickly. Like we talked about the struggle between like conforming to conforming to the confines of what society sort of like dictates the path you should walk. Whereas like this character is struggling with searching for something more, but also being pulled back and like sort of snapped back to like what he's supposed to be or she's supposed to be. I don't know what the soldier is, but
The intricate design. And
Yeah.
as that design is more intricate, it's supposedly more mature, more advanced, more
Right.
appropriate, more what you're supposed to strive towards. And maybe we should just refuse the intricate design and live in the wonder that we've lost.
yes, and we sent it to Het to scare the shit out of him. Did it work?
It was awesome. Scared the shit out of me, but it was still awesome.
Why don't we play it here? I think we've made people wonder, what the hell are they talking about? Which they may say that when we're done.
Yeah.
but-
I'm
Just
down.
Oh,
a
this is
little
brilliant.
special- yeah, one special, not special announcement. A little bit of breaking news, sad news. Chris's wife is Allie. Chris, son of Snake. Many of us know Allie and Chris. She hasn't been doing well lately, and apparently not doing well right now. I'm not sure exactly what's going on, but I told DJ to go ahead and post this link.
I believe I saw something that Chad is doing a special ham Sunday
Yeah.
with Kerry, tied into what you're talking about right here with the
So if
GoFundMe.
anybody
Oh,
has
wow.
a couple bucks, if you got it, we can help out. I'll certainly do something after the show on behalf of
For
the
sure.
Community Pulse. But whatever you can go ahead and, if you got it, I'm sure it's going to help. Yeah, and if I don't know how to pin the channel because I don't want to leave this stream and take a chance on ruining things here.
That's why we got you here, Frank, because we were afraid we were going to do that.
Yeah. All right. Sorry. I do have some questions just before we go
Sure.
on to this final song.
Yeah.
Viv, the opening track, You Belong to Me. When did you how long ago was that?
5 years ago, probably.
Was it 5 years ago?
Yeah.
So you were like 14 years old.
Not quite.
No, that was just beautiful.
Thank you.
Here
and
comes old
JJ.
Flat Top. His
I know
head's kinda
you're
flat.
on the radio. Is that part of that same experience?
Yes.
But you never played this, right?
No, it was up on my website, on my YouTube channel as one. We played 3 songs, so we were there for about half an hour
Right.
with some talk. And Viv had sat and listened to the whole thing. And I was like, you know what? I could cut out a part of this. But they were all still pretty long, too long, to have on one of the live stream shows. So when we talked about doing this with Little Green Men, she was like, oh, can you use one of those? And it all tied together, so it was like, yep, synchronicity,
Absolutely.
meant to be.
No, this is a nice little thing you have here. This is a great show. I hope you're all enjoying it out there. And welcome to Hetriani. Yes, Snooks. He called me and said, please let me go on. I need the practice. I'm just kidding. Yeah, welcome, Het.
Thank you.
We're glad you're here, Het. Very glad.
And
Well,
it ties
thank
in
you.
because actually this song that we're about to hear, we were originally going to have on the show when you hosted Viv on the
Yes.
Pulse in September.
That's
and
true.
It's long. And like mine, that's why it didn't get played on live stream shows. And even cutting it, Het and I were talking before, is this Little Green Men you would not want to cut into 2 7-minute segments. No.
No,
can't.
no.
So
It's a bit
it-
out
it
there
needs
too.
to
I
be
think that's the
entirety.
reason we didn't want to. But I don't know. It's a bit different.
It is, and everyone can blame me because I have not stopped bugging Viv since she
Oh,
shared
trust
this
me,
with
he hasn't. And me
Yep.
Well, we've had very interesting discussions just like on a personal level, because I feel like this song is sort of like I said, I feel like I'm speaking to myself from the past to now, and I wrote it when it was in my formative years, but it's like come back in a way that like is like shaping how I'm looking at things now. So it's just very like, what is time sort of. So thank you, JJ. This is what I'm trying to say.
You're most welcome. Most welcome. Let's hear it.
Let's
Okay.
hear it.
Yeah.
All right.
That's it. We'll do the whole sound check. We'll do it at the weird part and then going into action. 1, 2, 3, 4. Very spontaneous. Ready? Keep it.
I heard a voice. It appeared to me, murmur from behind. The darkness thickened in the hours. I was handed a bloody knife. I was taught to do unto others as they do unto me. There is no room anywhere for my mediocrity. So there I stood, a soldier lacking a definite quest. I was cloaked in gold, and I was in distress. I was told to reach the castle a fortnight from today. For though it may be trouble, I would surely die without my blade. The clouds shun my desires. After all, disbelief kindles all great fires. I danced down the cobblestone, sun setting below. I find myself frightened, alone, longing for a rest to lessen my load. But I was told to run, Still I dare not turn around, or even venture to sit down. For though I declare that faint sound, 'twas my feet put her pattering against the ground. In muddling through the strife, I threw down my blood-caked knife. Turned my questions to the sky. Firmly cemented with closing my hands and choking with tears. 1,000 green men began to appear. The sky opened up, and then with their call, 1,000 green men were ordered to fall. And they told me to run, 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 get done. And run, 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 get done. Nothing stopped until his little green stairs grew painfully wet until he uttered his first little green word, refusing intricate design, drink deep in tears of the wine. Pay no attention to the reason of I picked the green man and walked on, and I was began to run, 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 run. Out the door, I ran, 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 ran for the castle door. I did not stop until I reached that castle door.
bring everybody back up.
That was awesome. I love that.
Joe and Barry just said, "What do we have here? Oh my! What have we here?"
Yeah,
Wow.
This is a special stream we have here, Joe and Barry. This is a nice little treat. You know, you all should have seen, I wish you could have seen what was going on backstage. You had Viv doing this. You have, as you can see, aside from the bopping that JJ was doing, he was decided to start stripping.
Well, you know,
This is just,
this was like something I imagine I would have heard if I had had the privilege to attend one of Ken Kesey's acid tests with the airplane and Janice and the Dead. Or, you know, for Frank, if Yoko could have got on stage in 1969 at Live Peace in Toronto with Eric and John and Klaus Vormann and done a tenth of what we just heard, she'd actually be appreciated by people. This is beyond anything I can even start to imagine doing as a 15-year-old.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Wow. Wow.
Well, thank you for appreciating it. It means a lot to me. Thank you so much for that.
The two, well, there are three other guys, but two of the band members, people weren't saying things wrong. They're twins.
They're twins, yes.
It's not a Gary Hubbs fooling thing. They're actually twins.
Yes.
Yeah, and so you want to talk connections, weird connections. Those brothers, last name is the same last name as a gentleman who jammed all the keyboard parts on my Stones Like Clouds album. Not related that we know of, but same last name.
Yeah, and I remember I was like, wait, what's that guy's last name? I think I sent you an email, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's so weird because that's the last name of the twins on Little Green Men. So yeah.
Unbelievable.
Oddities.
So yes, this is just words are it takes time for words to come because you're just blown away. And the sound and the energy. But Viv, that is a Homeric epic poem. That how did a 15-year-old come up with that depth of intelligent understanding of everything?
But I think it's what we talk about. It's like we're channels, right? Like, I mean, I think it was probably I think that was a rehearsal. I don't think it was a fully formed song. I think I was just sort of kind of riffing and talking and just like how you do, where you just like you make connections with the lyrics and then you flesh it out and you write it. But yeah, just playing off of each other and just the energy of, you know, what Jeremy's playing on the guitar. I mean, you hear me scream at one point because it's so awesome. I can't take it. So I just go,
Yes,
because it's, you know, and that's the energy that I think created this, whatever this was. It was just like that unbridled excitement of being 15 and like everything is new and it's just like, I can't take it. It's all so awesome, you know? So I think that's where it came from.
Yes, and you know, people I'm sure can't realize it took me multiple listens. The story you're talking about, a youth about to enter adulthood, you know, and what path to take, the soldier. And it sounds like that's where you yourself might have been as a person, wondering, you know, this world in front of me here, you're jamming with friends in high school, you know, yes. And do you take the path of unbridled letting loose, or do you go in the more formal, you know, intricate design of how somebody has to go through the steps to do all this? It seemed perfect.
Yes, exactly. I mean, well, I'm not saying it was perfect, but I'm saying like I think that's where I was coming from. It's like I think we talked about this. Like, I definitely had questions about what the social constraints were, and I think as a kid I probably challenged it more than I definitely did. Like, you challenge things more when you're young, but so I think it came from that place of like questioning the structure of.
And it wasn't just the rituals, not that are set up in society that you're questioning. You start to get into a cosmological thing because you're questioning even the construct of time.
Yeah.
But that is really deep.
And I think I've always thought about time in that sense. I mean, I won't go into how strange I probably could sound, but yeah, I think I've always sort of questioned time and the how it seems to like mess with your mind, and like time, it stood still is what I say. But yeah, just the question of time, and perhaps things are actually overlapping right now. Like
But we don't think in our perception. So yeah, it's all that's where the consciousness comes in again. The structure that we've given things say that the time is moving this way, and we don't recognize dreaming as going backwards in time.
Right.
Which, why not?
Or forwards.
Or forwards. Right.
Yes.
Right. So it's all what society develops as the conventions.
Well, and they say that, obviously everybody knows this, like we dream in symbols and that kind of thing, but your song, that was very, like, there were so many symbols in your song too, like the pyramids, and like like it was so symbolic, like these flashes of meaning, I guess, so.
And I think yours took it to an even further level. I mean, the detail of what you wrote there just is mind-boggling. And you're telling me that like those screams weren't scripted out, planned, they just erupted as you guys
oh, absolutely. I mean,
they were perfectly placed though.
Because I think that's what happens when you're so inside of the music and you just trust yourself implicitly. Is that the word? Like, you trust yourself completely. I think we've even talked about this, right? Like, just like completely being inside of the song, and so what you're playing just like
it flows
erupts.
up.
Yeah.
You don't have any conscious thought about it. It just happens. You trust yourself. It's like your soul speaking through your instrument, whether it be your voice or your guitar or your drums or whatever. And it knows what to do. You just trust that it knows what to do. That's all.
Yes, and but why does that become, I guess my question is, why does that become a challenge, like after a certain point? Is it the study, like, of music that breaks that?
Well, the conventions. I mean, you think about what the convention of somebody studying is, and how much time they put into practicing a structure, not practicing letting stuff out of them, It becomes confining, and there's a purpose in that, and that makes sense. Practice makes permanent. So you want to keep those beautiful moments and not just have them happen once every 12 dead shows, but happen every show. So there's a difference there. But going back to the loss of innocence, the becoming older from a child to a teenager to an adult, being a kid in a high school band to going on to conservatory and things. That training does constrain some stuff, and it sounds like you almost look back and wish for the joy you had when you were in 11th hour jamming.
Yeah, I think at this point it's at such an interesting crossroads that I'm sure a lot of people here in this community understand well. It's like, okay, we've done the training, and like you can go forever training. You can train until you die, which you probably should, but you've also got to, what is that Bruce Swedian quote? I can't remember, but Bruce Swedian said something. He's a great sound engineer, but something about like when the technical meets the creative, like that's where the magic happens. Like you have to find that balance, So I think we all are like search for that, I guess, maybe, you know.
Exactly.
I think expectation also crushes creativity.
Yeah.
You know, you do stuff, and then whether people put it on you or you put it on yourself, there's an expectation that you need to meet a certain level to keep up, and that kind of puts the blinders on, right, where you're focused on just one specific thing. You don't pull from everything anymore, and you don't experiment anymore. You're just so driven to just do that one thing and do it as good as you've done it before, or, you know. So yeah, I think expectation also crushes a lot of that.
Yeah, that was great.
I mean, how many opera singers are going to feel comfortable going and doing a Yoko Ono expression thing, you know?
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
Even though they probably could do a damn good one.
Right.
We just heard.
Yes. Yeah, like they wouldn't. I think like it would be sacrilege. Like you can't, you know,
Against
you can't
the
do that
rituals
with
and
your
the
voice.
conventions.
Yes. Yes.
Refute the intricate design. Refuse it. Just, no.
Yes.
Do what feels good. I think we were kind of talking about that on your album release. Something about the importance of having fun at what you're doing.
Yes. If you're not having fun with what you're doing, that comes down to expectation too, right? I had to throw a lot of that away with that album because I know what everybody that I have on my channel for the most part expects, and this is nothing like what I do. So I went more with the fun and take the blinders off and just do what I wanted to do and hope that people like it. But I liked it in the end. So I mean, ultimately, that was my goal, was just for me to have fun and do something, and hopefully everybody else would feel that as well.
And I think people do. People sense, at least other artists, maybe the general public, but fellow artists, you sense when somebody is having fun in their craft, you know.
Yes,
and you can really appreciate, and you have joy for them in that, because you know the joy that is. The general public, they're the ones that listen to the radio.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think that's really the heart of everything is that, you know, what we're talking about. Getting back to the joy, or maybe not getting back to it, just connecting with it. You know, maybe it's not in the past, maybe it's there, it's always been there, you know, just being able to connect with that, you know.
Don't hide from it, just go for it.
Yeah.
Totally. So, I mean, you know, and this is interesting. This is a little bit different of where we were thinking. You know, I had my whole thing about, we wound up getting to how consciousness is thought and thought is real, and, you know, where is thought before it starts? It starts from nothingness. But wait a minute, isn't that like the universe? Like, how does the universe grow into nothingness? Because there's nothing out there. How can it be? Well, it's kind of like thought. So maybe the universe is thought. In the beginning, there was the word, idea, logos. But instead, we wound up talking about how to get yourself back into feeling the...
Look at what you just said. That was awesome, JJ. Like that, he's like, dude.
I think I timed things a little late. They should have kicked it a little.
Whenever I need to get back into writing, I just talk to him for about an hour and...
I do, like, honestly, I think of him as a philosopher. I don't know if anybody else does, but I do think of you as a philosopher.
I do know.
Yeah.
Yes,
ruined my whole perspective on JJ right there.
Well, you know, that actually was another secret point of what we wanted to do today. I wanted to let people know that as brilliant as you thought Viv was before, she is something on a whole different level than what you might have thought before. And she was just worried about, you know, the opera singer doing a Yoko expressiveness. And I don't think anybody here has minded that.
Oh, JJ, you know, so cool. Your unwavering confidence in my like abilities has really helped to bring me back to music. So I just so appreciate like how much you and you too. Like, thank you.
The whole community. That's what this community does for all of us.
Yes.
It got us back and keeps us in it.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's the miracle. You said it You said it best. Got us back and keeps us in it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I really appreciate, Viv, you finally getting in, and Frank, I really appreciate it. Thank you for coming on. You can blame me. If you thought this was a boring hour, you can blame me, because
This
This was a great hour,
this was my doing.
fantastic hour.
and you let me stow away on it, so I appreciate that.
And we wanted to just kind of make it short. You know, this has been a busy week, and we know there's so much out there, and you know, people catch us on replay sometime. These will be put up on channels. So Viv, you were talking about a couple of different. I know your channels have been thrown out, so people will know your various channels to go to see some of this stuff.
Yeah, this will be on the Once Across the Sky channel. Try to say that 10 times fast, but yeah. Yeah.
And so we really appreciate everybody helping us come and take a little trip.
Yes, thank you guys for coming along.
It's been fun, and I just love it. And I really suggest people go back and listen to Little Green Men a few more times. You will keep hearing things you did not hear the first listens.
Yeah, that's right. It's got like a life-giving property. That's what we were talking about backstage. Every time you listen to it, you hear something new that you didn't catch the first 30 times even, right?
Yes.
And every time even that time, I was hearing things I missed before. It's cool. I love it.
It also facilitates a slow walk to insanity. So the more times you listen to it, the closer you get. So,
but it
that
makes it
explains
slow.
a lot.
Yeah, it's better than a rush right in. It's a slow.
Lori, what the heck is going on here?
Lori's awake. It's alive.
I said.
So, Lori, I hope you're feeling well and recovering as best you can. And everybody, remember there was the thing there with the ham Sunday for
SOS.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. Thank you to all the mods and
yes, thank you, mods.
All the work you all put into this, and DJ Big Red, Independent Many United, Lori, Snooks, everyone out there. Hetriani, thanks for joining us. Hetriani and I were talking backstage.
I'm the best mod.
And oh yeah, I forgot about Hetriani. That's right.
I do all the work. DJ takes all the credit.
That's it.
Yeah, I hear DJ was working on stuff till early hours of the wee morning, so always appreciate
On my order, yes, he was.
Yeah, and to what you were saying earlier, Viv, JJ does bring that magic, brings that spirit where what you guys were talking about, the fun in music.
Yes.
I think I've said this story many times. I got to the point where it was just business.
Yep.
I was just promoting myself. I was just after every, wanted to be on every stream. I shouldn't say that. I've been on 3 streams in 4 days. I'm exhausted. But I wanted to be on every stream. I was on every night doing something. I just lost myself.
Yes.
And he pulled me out of it single-handedly. And
well, with the help of the doctor.
That thing... Hey, what did you call it? J-Hay?
J-Hay. That's J-Hay.
Like you know he's gonna have that on the next video.
I
that you've named it.
Yes. Well, I'm going to combine it with the Mad Hatter.
Yes.
There you go.
Beautiful.
It
Can't
works.
wait to see that.
Yeah, and don't forget 9 o'clock we have my man 15th Bend. I don't want to drag this on too long, so some of the folks have time to take a little break before 15th Bend's roller coaster. And I hope to see you all there. I'll be there. Of course, I'll be there. Yeah, I'm going to let you guys close this out. And once again, thank you both. I think this was fantastic, and it was an honor that you asked me to put this together, and that you wanted it on this channel because you had the opportunity to be on your channel.
No, this was
I appreciate
for
it.
me. This was where it was natural because it's an extension of the episode that Hetriani hosted with Viv, and this really was on that initial playlist. So this is really just an extension of that. So it was only natural that it would be here.
So I do have a purpose to be here.
Yes, you do. Yes, yes.
You do. When we were backstage the other night, Viv was asking about you as well.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. No, it actually feels very I can't think of words.
Natural, organic.
No,
Appropriate.
supposed to be. Supposed to be. What's a word that means supposed to be?
Supposed to be.
Good
Meant
night.
to be.
Good
One
night.
word. What?
Oh, good night is 2 words.
Predictable.
No.
No, that's
Meant to
ninth
be.
gate.
Meant to be. Oh my gosh. Anybody? Peanut
Does it
butter?
start with an F?
Faded. Snooks. Snooks did it.
Faded. There you go.
Snooks
Faded.
did it.
Butter.
Faded.
Leave
She
it
did
at Snooks.
it. She got it.
Oh my gosh, yes. But seriously, thank you so much, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
We had thought we could get out an hour. It was a little bit more than an hour, but yeah, Viv and I went on for about 3 hours the other night, so we
Yes.
won't do that to you guys.
I think we've said it all. Thank you, guys. Thanks, Frank. Thanks,
Thank
Het.
you.
Thanks,
Thank you,
JJ.
everybody.
All
Thanks for
right.
coming, everyone.
Stay kind and creative, everyone.
Good night, everyone. Take care.
Night.